taking my radio flyer to the trash area in our apartment complex. This is the underground parking area, and it's so wild. I think that like this area is designed, this complex is designed to host thousands and thousands of residents, you know? But our building, I honestly think it's just us in our building. When I go upstairs to take the elevator to the 19th floor where our place is, the elevator takes us up. I sometimes go up in the morning, take the elevator from the first floor to the 19th floor, stay up there all day long, and then like in the evening, maybe you have to go down. And when I go to the elevator's still on the 19th floor. So like, I think we're the only people that are in the building. I know there's some renovations going on, but I don't think there's anybody that's like living there. Even at the end of the day, when I go up in the 19th floor, I'll wake up in the morning and it'll be still sitting there on the 19th floor. And it's very echoey. There's no cars here to deaden the sound. Man, I love this radio flyer. This thing is amazing. We're gonna go shopping today, or tonight. I haven't made a video in a while. I thought I really should. For those of you, that have come here for the first time, my name is Matt. I'm talking to you from Ningbo, China. If you're watching this way in the future, whatever happened with that whole virus thing? Because we're in the middle of it right now. I've finished 2 quarantines, one in America, one in China, and now we are living fairly normal life in our apartment in Ningbo, China. Sort of moving things in. Every so often it's getting more and more filled in. Our apartment is looking more and more lived in. It's quite nice. I want to go shopping and head out to a sort of a store called Olay. Western food, specialty food. And I like to go there and get some cheese. I normally am cycling around the world on a recumbent trike. And just before I paused my tour to come back home for Chinese New Year, I was focused on a keto diet. I was trying to lose some weight. So no rice, no noodles, no sugars, you know. In moderation, it's a quite good diet to do. When we quarantined in the USA, then came back here, then I was just kind of dilly-dallying around. It was tough to hold it together. But now I'm kind of interested in getting back in the zone and getting back on the quarantine diet. So I thought I'd take you with me as we go to Olay. So let's go. It's very eerie in here. Hello? Hello? It's so wild to live in a world where on the passenger side of your car, if you're driving alone, you'll almost always have a container of disinfectant, like cleaning wipes, and masks. I guess that's just the world we live in right now. An age of masks, alcohol wipes, and paranoia. I've had a few people ask me if I've been exposed to any racism or bigotry while I'm in China. There have been reports, especially in Guangzhou, of people getting harassed. Sort of the roles have been switched. It used to be that the Chinese were carrying this virus out to the outside world, and now the China area is under control. The outside is now out of control somewhat, and the cases are coming into China. So there's this reverse paranoia from before. So there are a lot of cases of people who have not worn their mask or not abided by the lockdown, and it's kind of making everybody sort of angry at the foreigners who aren't sort of following the rules that the Chinese religiously held to in order to kill the virus. Like China has banded together in a way that few other countries, some have, but few other countries have, in order to get this epidemic in China, the pandemic globally, under control. And so when they see foreigners that aren't abiding by the rules, hate begets hate, you know. And there's anger being thrown around in all directions. And I think that a lot of it, like, it's like a self-perpetuating snowball. So, you know, there's anger at China, then China's angry at everybody else, and then the countries start, like government to government. Then it gets down to a personal level, and then pretty soon everybody's hating everybody. And nobody wins in situations like that. Nobody wins. So there have been some cases where foreigners have been banned from going into shopping complexes, or, you know, people are posting, you know, no foreigners allowed on their storefronts. And there have even been, like, focused on the black population in Guangzhou or Guangdong. I think it's one of the Guangs. Guangzhou is a city within Guangdong province. I mean, I know most Chinese people aren't so much bigoted more than normal people. Everybody's got a little stain in their personality of bigotry, whether we think we do or not. I think it's just unfortunately inherent in almost any human being, a feeling of, I'm comfortable in my skin, you're not in my skin somehow, culturally or physically or any number of ways, and so you're different, you're the other, and from that otherness stems anger, hate, you know, curiosity, you know, and, you know, leads to bad things. Early on, when the virus was outbreaking, I think there were some African gentlemen in Guangdong that went to the hospital with a COVID-19 symptoms, had COVID-19, and he bit the nurse. There are really, really stupid people in this world that just ruin it for everybody. I told this story before, but I was on the bus headed to quarantine. I was headed from Shanghai airport, and I was being driven to Ningbo. Me, my wife, my daughter, together, all of our bags. It was chaotic. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. My daughter was 3.5. She was a real trooper through the whole thing. But there was checkpoints where the buses would drive to a certain checkpoint and then disseminate, and then you'd, like, narrow down your group. So, like, we would first go to, like, Zhejiang province stop, and then we would split off into a bus for the Ningbo district, and then we'd drive to the Ningbo district, and then we'd separate off and go downtown Ningbo, and then we'd separate off again and go to the end, which was the quarantine hotel, which is where we ended up staying for 14 days in quarantine. It was like 3-something in the morning when we arrived at the first checkpoint. It was dark. It was scary. People didn't want to be around us. The people that were around us were in full hazmat gear. There was a fear. The system was still fairly new as far as how to sort people out at these checkpoints. I felt at the point in time very fearful. It was like zombie apocalypse. Like, where are they taking us and sorting us? I mean, we felt like the other, and it was nerve-wracking. And you could tell people were really, really strained to their limits as well, personal limits. We went to the area of where we had to collect ourselves in order to get to the next checkpoint, which was Ningbo district, and we were waiting for the bus. My wife called to find out where the bus was because it wasn't waiting for us, and we found out that the bus wasn't going to be there. Well, that didn't work out too well with my wife, and she started, if you know Annie, you know what I'm talking about, and she started placing some heated calls to people to try to get a bus, because otherwise it was sort of my impression that we were probably going to be there for a long time, like with our daughter who was tired, outdoors in these like weird half containers, which were like these little outposts where these people were collecting to go to their district. And Annie was just like, you need to get a car here right now. We need to get a car. We need to go home. This is also like after about 40 some hours more than 40 hours of steady travel. We were tired, so the bus wasn't there. She called a bunch of people and was able to get somebody on the line that was like, okay, we're going to send somebody to, we're going to send a bus. So they sort of arranged a bus for us. Have a real suspicion that somebody, a bus driver, got a call at the end of his shift, he was thinking he was going home at like 2:30, 3 in the morning. And somebody was like, you need to get your ass over to the checkpoint and pick up the last group of Ningbo district people. Because when the bus arrived, first thing I did is I'm wheeling all these bags. I've got like tons of bags. My wife's taking care of Eva, my baby. And so I'm carrying all the bags. I go to the bus driver and I look at him and I'm like, do I put these bags under? You know, kind of just signaling. I mean, he was a Chinese guy. He didn't know what didn't understand English, but I was like, do I put these? And he looked at me with venom in his eyes. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was like sleep deprivation, you know. And he's giving me this, like when your face scrunches up out of such anger that you are really, really pissed off. Basically, it was like, figure it the F out and get in the effing bus, you know. And it was angry. I was like, okay, hold on. I had more bags. I ran and got more bags. By the time I got back, the other people that were going in the bus, about 10 of us, figured out that just open the doors, put your stuff under the bus. He doesn't want anything to do with us. At the time, we were thought to be infected until we were out of quarantine. So he's risking his life to drive us around, and he's tired as all hell. And so we get in the bus, and there's a sheet of plastic that separates the driver from us by about 4 rows. So like the driver's seat, and then 4 rows back, and then there's this rudimentary plastic clear sheeting that's been taped on the roof and the sidewalls, basically sealing the driver's compartment off at a distance from the passengers. Because he doesn't want to get close to us, because obviously there's social distancing and he's forced to drive people who could be potentially infected, and he doesn't want to be infected. He wants his barrier to stand as well, because if that barrier comes down, he's at risk to be infected from any one of us who could potentially be infected. So the girls get in there. First of all, the undercarriage, we can only use one little compartment. I was able to put my bags under, but I mean, these people were coming from Shanghai Pudong Airport. They were coming international flights. It wasn't like a domestic flight where you had a backpack. So they come up to the main area, and they have their big rolling luggage. And one lady rolls her luggage onto the lip of this plastic divider. And the plastic divider just grows a little taut under the wheels of the rolling luggage, and he flips his lid, and he starts going, "You can't put your luggage here," in Chinese, not in any sort of nice way. He's yelling, "Get the fuck out of here! Get that off there!" And he's yelling. He's out of almost like insane desperation. It was almost like he was losing his mind. And he was like, "Get that off there! Get that off! Don't pull my divider down!" And what he didn't want is any luggage to be in the center walking aisle. He's like, from what I could gather, he's like, it's gonna roll, it's gonna gain speed when I hit a brake, and it's gonna roll through my barrier. And from what he said, it sounded like it had happened previously, and he probably flipped out thinking he was going to get infected. What is he going to do? Is he going to walk to the back, confront all of the sick people potentially, and then tape up this barrier? You know, it's just a shitty situation gone shittier, because he's like, I don't want to have to go and move into your area to fix something that I put out a protective barrier, because you knocked it down because your luggage broke through my rudimentary divider. Well, there was a Western girl, I think she was American or something, and she was sitting in front of me, and she was not having it. And she was like, "You can't talk to us like that. You can't treat us like this." Okay, you want to stand up for the group? I kind of get it, but you got to assess the whole situation. This is a stressful situation all around, and he's got to drive us to the next checkpoint. If you want to, get the license plate of the bus and log a complaint, or get the hell off the bus. But she was so irate. You can't, not irate, she was just flippant. You can't do this to us. You can't treat us this way. Can you believe this fucking guy? She's leaning over, she's talking to all of us. If she doesn't want to be in the bus because this guy's being a dick, get the hell off the bus. And you can wait 4 hours at a checkpoint until the next bus. or sit on the bus, shut your mouth, and deal with whatever this driver is telling us right now, because he's the guy in charge, you know? She turns back to us and she goes, "We should all just cough on him. See how he likes it. Let's just all cough on him." That was her thought at the time. That the best way to get back at this angry driver who feels fear being infected and is taking it out on us, who knows what personal issues there are, ended up driving us for 2 hours and zigzagging down the road. I mean, it was a very dangerous ride to Ningbo district, and she's antagonizing this guy by saying we all should band together and cough on this guy. You know, it only takes one despicable, ignorant, foolish person to bite a nurse or to antagonize in a weird, horrible way. Like, that is like the worst. Coughing, all of us start coughing. Like, in her mind, what did she think was going to happen? We were all going to cough on the divider that separates this driver. He's going to completely flip out. The police are going to get called, and we're all going to get sent to the hospital for COVID-19 tests because we're coughing. But in her mind, it was like, yeah, we got him good with that one. Got him good. You would have gotten us all potentially deported, if not thrown in jail. I mean, coughing on somebody. If you did that in the States, even if there was a teller at a grocery store that was treating you poorly, yelling at you, you cough on that guy? I think that's assault in this period of time, in this climate of the world. But you only have to have one goofball, and it spoils it for everybody. And I think that there's a few goofballs in China. There's a few goofballs everywhere. Goofballs in China that are making Westerners look bad. There's goofballs in the United States that are angry at Chinese and are spitting on Chinese people. And it's just kind of self-propelling a narrative and an anger. And, you know, guy that bit the nurse, there was people there streaming, Chinese people, that were like, look at this guy, he just bit the nurse. And he's an African. Let's be angry at all Africans, which I don't agree with. But, you know, you could see how this thing could, in today's climate, it's so easy. Snippets, TikTok, social media. One person does something bad and it just spreads out and becomes the narrative. I'm just glad there wasn't a Chinese person on that bus that was recording this girl saying we should cough on the driver, because it would have been a self-propagating, it would have been a message that would have been just fed out into the Chinese community, and it would have trickled down on people like us, like me, like other Westerners who are just kind of like just along for the ride, you know. Anyways, there have been a lot of cases that I've heard of people getting treated poorly. It's happening everywhere. So I don't think it's only a China thing. It's just everywhere. People are nervous and scared and sad and frustrated. Now, I haven't seen much of it. I drive a car, so it's not like I got to take public transportation, which is a lot of opportunity to be interactive with the public. I'm not on a contract at a school, which a lot of foreigners are contracted to teach at different schools or businesses. And so they're in the community of Chinese people and maybe more exposed to daily life with common Chinese citizens. We live in an age where isolated cases become normalized, and people who ordinarily wouldn't get any attention because they were goofballs become the rule, not the exception to the rule. And that's all I'm kind of saying. Yeah. Yeah, 等一下. Yep, thanks. In order to get into the shopping mall, you have to show your green code and make sure that you're not holding a fever. Very important. Now, there haven't been any cases of COVID-19 inside Ningbo, the city, for quite some time, but still everybody is adhering to the mask policy, so There's some things that I can find here that I can't even find in the States. One of them is garlic flavored Tabasco sauce. This is good stuff. When I cycled through Taiwan, I came to the place where they farm these. Oh my God. If you've never had a custard apple, delicious. Sinfully delicious. On the diet I've constructed for myself, cheese is a good snack. It's much better than having carbs and bread and stuff. So instead of chips, I have a block of cheese I nibble on. A tip given to me by a friend of mine named Mark. Up in the front area, they actually have a cordyceps mushroom area where they have all sorts of Chinese herbal medicine and remedies. Cordyceps are a fungus that grows out of the butt of a caterpillar that is found in the mountains. Used to be found in the mountains. Now I think they're farming it in many different ways, but it's supposed to be good for you in all sorts of crazy, like heart health and, you know, virility and life extension and stuff. But they're also selling bird's nest, which is funny because I've been to a bird's nest house and seeing the bird's nest packed up, all clean and neat. I used to see the bird's nest stuck to the bird nest houses in all its dirty glory. Thank you. All right, well, I didn't think I was going to get any sidelong glances or anything, but I didn't. This is a pretty fancy place though, like a fancy upscale mall. So I didn't think I was going to get much in way of any dirty looks. They were selling a lot of bird's nest in there though. Man, people are making a lot of money off those things. I think that basically the thing you gotta do is just, you've got to really try and sort of lay as low as you can, you know. Don't draw too much attention to yourself. Wear a smile as much as possible. That's my big thing. If I can smile, now your mask covers up your smile, but you can smile in the eyes too. And oftentimes it's very disarming. I think what you get is paranoia and fear from people, and they might look at you with apprehension, but as soon as you give them that happy eyes, hey, then they tend to, well, in my experience, it's always been a real good way to break through somebody's fear barrier and get to the meat of human, which is normally pretty accommodating and friendly. Anyways, you guys have a good night. I'm gonna drive home and take it easy, and yeah, be good. Jayo. Bye-bye.
I have one camera.
You do?
Uh-huh.
I remember. Is it like my camera?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. What color is it?
It's pink.
Does it take nice pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a good picture taker?
Mm-hmm.
The best? Are you better at taking pictures than Daddy?
Uh-huh.
Daddy take good pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two.
Okay, good. I think you are cute.
It's cute.
Do you look like Daddy at all?
Huh? What?